because you're looking for a crutch. I'm not that crutch. And for the people that I am chairman with, they'll say, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't ask Dan again. He's too hard. And you say, put my foot on your ass. And fuck you, you fucking pussy with fucking mini muscles. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I beat you like a fucking rented mule. You don't want me. You think you want me because you think it's going to make it easier for you. Well, it's not. And I resign. The great thing is 3 days before the deal, I resign as your chairman and then you're fucked. Steve Jobs had no mates. Friends. Does mates mean the same thing as friends?
Yeah.
Okay. If I were to try to judge you by the guy you chill with, Bill Gates doesn't chill. I told a joke. Sally and I went when we were on the Orient Express. We were in Verona, and we hiked up to some fucking Roman ruins, 40, 50 minutes up there. And we're waiting 45 minutes for a drink. And Sally says, I think we're chilling. I go, why? Because the lazy fucking Goombas, the three of the laziest people on the planet, they're all Italian. No question. Okay? So they went from the fucking Roman legions to dog shit. Anyway. So, but anyway, she says, we're chilling. And I go, and I thought.
Not Milano.
No, not Milano. Okay. And so I said, well, what do you mean? She says, Dan, you know how long we've been here? And I go, 20 minutes. She says, we've been here 45 minutes waiting for a drink. To order a drink, not for a drink. So I immediately, normally, if 2 minutes, and then the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I can empty out a restaurant of 500 people in 45 seconds. Every motherfucker, without yelling fire. All I started being aggressive, everybody gets up and leaves. And that's my natural disposition. So within 90 seconds, the girl was there. Within 90 seconds after that, 96, we had a drink. Now, I was going to order a fancy drink. I said, we'll just have glasses of wine. I wanted to see just how much I could shake the joint up. But these guys don't chill. And this has got to be your dream team. If it's not, you're dead. You wasted your money. Go home today. This is going to be the hardest thing for most of you to do. Because you would know a tough guy tough guys wouldn't bite you in the ass. But I mean, you wouldn't know a tough guy unless he fell on you after he knocked you out in the ring like yesterday. And this is where not everybody, but this is where the kids fail the most. Because if the group doesn't look like that, you're dead. Or to me, it's going to take you 5 years. And as far as I'm concerned, if it takes you 5 years, you wasted my fucking time. This is not a 5 to 10 year program, although we have plenty of people that do it that way, plenty of people. And for some of you that are already long in the tooth, meaning older, not as old as myself, but long in the tooth, I mean, you're running out of fucking runway, kids. I just read somebody's email from some gal. I don't know where I've been, what cave I was living in, but I just discovered you last week. And she's a real estate developer in Florida. If 10% of what she wrote is accurate, she's already got money. Because when you go to the B schools, they teach you how to do best case, medium case, worst case. When you put your numbers together, your spreadsheets, and you're always selling off the best case numbers, like you and I discussing yesterday. And I immediately went to the worst case, and I take the worst case and I cut it in half. If the deal makes sense after I take the worst case and cut the numbers in half, then we got something to talk. Because I've never seen a plan fail on paper in 49 years and 7 months that I've been doing this. Call it 50 years. I've never seen a business plan or projections fail on paper. Never. I've never, ever, ever. And you have been selling, and that's why the banks don't believe you. That banks all think you're full of shit. Most of the deals you've tried to get financed over the years, if you've tried, some of you have never tried to get anything financed, don't make sense. The dog doesn't hunt. Because they don't tell you they take the worst case and cut it in half. They don't cut it in half. They take the worst case and maybe they discount the worst case. They discount it. For example, in the summer of 2014, I said them. They came out with articles that the oil, West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude were going to go to $200 a barrel. Oil was about between $110 and $115 a barrel. Brent crude was about $118 to $123. And I said oil's going to go to 40 before it goes to 200. That was August of 2014. In February, March of 2015, oil was $26 a barrel. But they were loaning money on North Sea on escalated cases to $240 a barrel. Now, pun intended, 5,000 loans were underwater, both literally and figuratively. Because like then and now, about the average age of the people that manage the worldwide wealth are under 30 years old. So they've never seen a down market. They've never seen the crash of 87 and a few other things. And so the people that are looking at your deal aren't discounting the numbers enough. But if you do not utilize. There's a reason why we call it a dream team, because they're there to make your dreams come true, not their dreams, your dreams. And unless you use leadership like the Viking bitch that you saw yesterday, you're going to go on Reddit and say QLA failed. No, QLA doesn't fail, kids. You fail. And I tell you, I keep saying, because, I was reading YouTube. I don't hardly ever answer. I didn't answer anybody on YouTube, but it's you. QLA can be used by anybody, but not anybody can make it work. There's a big difference. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Some of you know, directly or indirectly, somebody that went through the program. They may or may not have made any money, okay? If they didn't make any money, I can guarantee that if we go back, this program, the Castle Seminar, I'm not talking about the program that's online for free. I can tell you that within, and we're going to talk about the weekly report later, within the first weekly report that I got, I have a log, and I put by your name next. It doesn't take you 5 weekly reports to figure out how to write the fucking weekly report. You either get the shit done or you don't. Some of you will use the excuse, well, I'm shutting my other business down. Some of you are shutting your business down, your other business, the business that you've been making a living from. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with whether you can accomplish what you're supposed to from the reporting system. That's just, that's like you, so you got kids. That's not my challenge, guys. And all guys here today. That's not my fucking challenge. That's your fucking problem. Your old lady couldn't keep her fucking fat thighs together, and you couldn't keep your dick out of it. And a stiff dick has no conscience. Zero. You got a mother with dementia. That's not my fucking problem. I don't care. I hope she fucking dies. So when these reports, and I went back and I looked at stats, and I told somebody last night, for 17 years, we had no reporting system from QLA. 85% of the billionaires were created the first 17 years. No reporting system whatsoever. No mentor fuck. How did they do it? Other than they were tougher then. And then from 2010 to 2015-ish, 16, we had a modified mentor program. Modified. Program based on just the weekly report. Not that I held your hand or any of that. And then we experimented for a couple of years with a year mentor, then 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, 6 months, down to 2 months, down to 0 months now. We have gotten not better results, not more consistent results. The results from the QLA, you getting to the stage where you create a generational wealth, all have to do with one thing: who's focused the longest. Has nothing to do with your IQ, has nothing to do with your net worth, or the lack thereof for some of you in this room. I say that funny because I used to have no net worth either, and I think it's funny. It's easy for me to say funny at my looking down now, but I remember when I was looking up. It's who stays focused the longest. That's the only thing. And the former world-class athletes seem to do better at it because they knew how to focus, i.e. Marcus Bauer, and i.e. me, because I was competing against, a myth of my father being a world-class athlete, that I was a clumsy, couldn't catch the ball, non-athlete. So the fact that I may be doing you a favor, and me being your chairman is not the guilt-edge panacea. The people that I've been chairman for over the last 27 years, there's no correlation to wealth. Zero, none. And I know some of you think otherwise because you're looking for a crutch. I'm not that crutch. And for the people that I am chairman with, they'll say, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't ask Dan again. He's too hard. And you say, put my foot on your ass. And fuck you, you fucking pussy with fucking mini muscles. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I beat you like a fucking rented mule. You don't want me. You think you want me because you think it's going to make it easier for you. Well, it's not. And I resigned. The great thing is 3 days before the deal, I resigned as your chairman, and then you're fucked. I like doing that. The entire board resigns. The accountants and lawyers leave you. The banks don't answer your fucking phone calls. Then, fuck me, what did I ask him to be my fucking chairman for? Because when I am chairman, you do when I tell you to jack off in front of the TV, in front of your 3-year-old daughter, you better fucking jack off with a fucking selfie. Otherwise, I quit. You don't want me. You can't take me. This is one of the 2 or 3 keys. And you start with your dream team. Remember I said that if you're not tough, somebody's got to be tough, or the collective team has to be tough. This is the collective. And virtually nobody in your current universe is like that. Now, you may have somebody in your current universe, but he's not the guy that you invite over for dinner. He's not the guy that you invite for a drink, because that guy and gal now make you uncomfortable. You should not be comfortable with anybody on your board. Zero. Nobody. Then you got a better chance. Remember, one of the keys to the program is to get you to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Being comfortable being uncomfortable. And when it's a metaphor, and a lot of people don't like it, but when I say run towards a gunfire and kill everybody, that's exactly what I mean. You don't run towards a gunfire. When there's a shooting, like in Hong Kong and these places, they're unfortunately in Germany, they're shooting people. What are the crowds doing? They're all running away from the gunfire, aren't they? Nobody's running towards the gunfire, are they? Except for the first responders, the guys that we don't pay enough fucking money, the firemen, the policemen, the yada yada. Why are we running away? I'm not. I'm just trying to get a hold of a gun someplace so I can shoot somebody. And you're trying to, hide behind cars and getting low to the ground. And this is a run towards a gunfire, metaphorically, not kill. I would never. Everybody deserves to have fuck you. Most people don't deserve to be fucking born. And what are you told? Just the opposite, right? Everybody deserves to have a life, right? What a joke. Okay, last night, you saw who?
Love means zero.
Nick.
Nick Bowen, zero.
Love means zero. Greatest tennis coach in the history of tennis. Can't play tennis. Never played tennis. You get the message yet? 186, if I remember correctly, world champs he coached. I've talked to him on the phone. Tried to get him to do something. I wasn't successful. He's a cantankerous old bastard. 8 wives, if I remember correctly. Can't remember their names, which I find very amusing. What are the takeaways about Nick? Other than he fucked over Agassi. But
doesn't think, just reacts.
Visualize.
Just wait a minute. Doesn't think, just react. Nobody in this room can say that. Nobody other than me. Doesn't think, just react. Just pull the fucking trigger. Just fucking do it. It's so foreign to you. Even though you're seeing example after example after, it's still foreign to you. I can see it in your eyes. And to the extent that you modify away from that, it'll take you longer to accomplish. The guy that did it in 73 days and the guy that did it in 81 days followed the steps 99+% exactly as illustrated. One's 34 years old, one's 62 years old. Don't think, just react. What else about it?
Selective memory.
Don't confuse me with the motherfucking facts. I'm just telling you. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. I mean, Steve Jobs was a preeminent, the king of that fucking realm. Yes, sir.
The only time when someone he coached meant something to him was if they won.
What? And what? You don't mean dick to me until you win. I don't give if this little skinny shit falls dead here today. Just don't do it on YouTube. Let's drag his fucking body so he dies off the fucking estate. But see, I mean it with all my heart when I say, you laugh. I don't give a fuck. I hope your wives die so you're freed up for time. I hope your fucking children smother to death so you have more time. But I mean it, because I know what it takes to be successful. You don't. It's not dissimilar to the Spartans. What else about Nick?
He comes first.
If I told you this the first day. My first wife and Sally would say that they worship the ground I walk on, but their love for me is transitory compared to my love for myself. Nobody loves Dan Pena more than Dan Pena. Nobody. My mother didn't. God doesn't, if there is one. But I've never had a self-esteem problem. Never. I can't relate to you as individuals because you do have self-esteem problems. I wish I was bullshitting you like the other guys, but I just don't get it. Not one fiber of my body understands lack of self-esteem. Not one single fiber, not one muscle, not one sinew, not one anything about me understands lack of self-esteem. Because you can do something about self-esteem, the lack thereof, and you haven't done it. Whether you're 21, 22, or 52, 53, which is the age spread here, you haven't. Most of you would call it self-confidence as opposed to self-esteem. Well, either one you don't have. It doesn't make a shit. And when you hang around with people that have self-confidence, have self-esteem, guess what? It rubs off. If the 4 or 5 people that are still relatively friendly with, that I see once a year, just had dinner with 2 of them a few weeks ago, and then I had dinner with 2 more of them a few months ago. We see each other every other year, whether we need to or not. And we've never talked about self-esteem, and we've never talked about self-confidence. But if I'm positive, if I would have asked Bud, Walt, Howard, they just look at me. What the fuck's he must have early onset dementia. What's the old man talking about? Because they all have it. They're all successful, I might add. Not as successful as I am, but they're extremely successful. One was a contractor builder. One was a casino executive, opened up Atlantic City. One was did government contracts like I teach you how to do. And they're all super successful. They're not worrying about the big tsunami. They're not worrying about inflation. They're not worrying about interest. They don't worry about any of that shit. Unfortunately, 3 of them, their wives died. I never asked them if they have regrets because they didn't spend much time with their wives. Because they didn't. I never asked them if they regretted having spent less time with their kids. Because I know they didn't. They never brought it up to me, and I never brought it up to them. Remember I said the first day, you don't want people that you can relate to on your dream team. Now, a few of you have reasonable education. Most of the people on your dream team are going to have reasonable education. But you with no education can still recruit people with reasonably good educations because of free founders, free founders equity. Those are magic words. How do you say that in Spanish, in español?
Capital inicial libre. No es una traducción.
Gratuito.
In Italian.
Azioni della compagnia.
Okay. I mean, German.
Freies kostenloses Gründerkapital.
Those are the only words you need to know. I mean, they're like magic. And because these guys that have been 25 to 40 years with these big companies and come away with a nice little pension, but it's a nice little pension. It's not a big pension. So they're looking to supplement their revenue so they can go on that extra holiday or those extra 2 holidays or whatever, or help their families, whatever. What else about Nick? Pardon?
Not a pizza.
Amen to that. In fact, if I was to pick one of the guys that you're going to hear, I'd pick him to be the antithesis of you. And I talked to his right-hand guy who was a national college All-American tennis guy, and he became a coach, and he worked with Nick until Nick sold the business to the big management company 15, 20 years ago. But now he's the right-hand guy, not kind of aide to Nick. And Nick's in his late 80s now. This guy's about 50-ish. And I talked to him because trying to set up something so I could do something with Nick. And this is out of his comfort zone, Nick's, this place. All the big hitters not all, but almost all the big hitters I've tried to do something with over the years, this kills it. Well, let's meet at the Ritz-Carlton in New York. Why? Well, let's meet here. But he says in fact, he's worse when he doesn't think somebody's taping, because he's not trying to build his legacy like a lot of the guys I've already talked about that are trying to build their legacy. I want my legacy to be I'm an asshole. The greatest of all time creating wealth. Asshole. Because they'll forget the asshole part and they'll only remember the greatest of all time creating wealth. You're worried about the asshole part more than you are creating the wealth. And it's not even the worst thing you do, you don't do anything that's even shades of what I do. But the worst thing you've ever done in your life, a couple of you robbed people and shit like that and stabbed. That aside, the worst thing you ever did in your life, the worst thing you ever said to your mother, the worst thing you ever said to your wife, pales in complexion. Remember, I've got 3 regrets. 1, I'm a combat trained military officer who never saw combat. A lot of my classmates are dead. 2, the night before my mother died, here on the grounds, I'm yelling at her, God damn it, don't be such a fucking bitch. You're not going to die. Next morning, she's dead. I'd like to have that one back, but that's the way it is. And the 3rd is I didn't set my goals high enough. Not that I missed most of my kids' birthdays. Not that we celebrated Christmas in January more than we did in December. None of those things. Not that I moved the kids around like a fucking $20 hooker from school to school to school. I don't regret any of that shit. I've given 17 eulogies in the last 20 years to guys and gals that are dying. They call, I'm a world-class eulogy giver. I like to be called in before they're dead, so I can go visit them in the hospital or whatever and say, what's the scam? What do you really want me to say? And every one of the 17 has said what the regrets. And all the regrets are, none of them that they didn't spend time with their family. I wish I coulda, I shoulda taken this risk. I should have done this. Every single one of the 17. Every single one of them. Because when you check out, I'm told, not because I've ever felt it myself, but I'm told by people, and some of these people I had a lot of respect. I went to a funeral a few years ago, a 2-day funeral. I didn't know he had 2 days. One of those guys I told you about who's been a good friend of mine since I'm about 10 years old. His wife passed away, and she fancied herself a sea person, so she wanted to be buried at sea. And so we buried her at sea, and when you pour the ashes in the water, the boat's supposed to go around in a circle to form like a funnel into the... Everybody's throwing up. Sally and I and Dan Jr. are the only 3 about that aren't throwing up on the boat. So then we come baback, and there's a ceremony, and everybody's saying words about her, and so... Walt says, Dan, would you say some words about Melinda? And so Sally says, oh, yeah. Because I was her nemesis, Melinda. And so I got up and talked for about 18, 20 minutes. And I said, the woman that all you have described is not the bitch I knew. I mean, I don't know who the fuck we've been talking about here. But this cunt, it's there must be a virtual fucking reality here, split something. But this is not the cunt that I knew. And then I went out, and then everybody's going, even her kids, her grandkids, because all they do is talk shite. The same shite all the gurus have been talking to you. They want it to sound good. And I went on and to say that, so then I'm done. So we're walking out, and 3 little old ladies stopped me, and they pulled my jacket like this, and I turned around, and they're about this tall, and they're probably my age, but they look like little frumpy grandmothers. And they said, sir, excuse me, Mr. Pena, can we call you Dan? I said, you can call me anything you want, old timer. I don't give a shit. And she says, could we have your detail? Name and address, phone number. So I stood back, Sally's standing right there. I stood back, and I said, I haven't done a threesome in a while. But I said that I think you're a little old for me. And, that was giggle. No, we want you to say our eulogy at our funeral. I don't know these 3 old hags from a hole in the ground. They did contact us about 6 months later because one of them started to get sick, but she pulled out of it and didn't die. So, but I said, yeah. I wrongfully said yes. I bowed to pressure of the three little old ladies, and I said, yeah, I'll do your eulogy. Just make, I need some time to get to wherever you're going to die. But nobody worries about the shit you worry about. What else about Nick?
Disruptor?
Yes, sir.
When someone he thought wasn't performing anymore, he threw them away.
Just like I do. You don't want me at you're too big of vaginas in this room. You wouldn't last a month with me. Not even a fucking month. Not a week. Maybe not even a fucking day. Because when I tell you to do something, lard ass, I mean to do it now. Not when your wife lets you out of the house. Not when your kid's not got a sock. I mean now. I don't give a fuck if you're sick. Unless you're in a coma or dead, there is no forgiveness for being late. If your mother dies in your arms, I don't give a fuck. Unless you die or you're in a coma, there are no extensions. Never, ever, ever. One of my favorite terms is, if we were at war, we'd all be fucking dead because of you, you moron. And that's the way Steve managed. That's the way Bill managed. That's the way Warren manages. There are no extensions. So be careful what you wish for.